the all teachers and all practitioners. It is Saturday afternoon, May 7, 2025. We continue with the topic. Um, the mind stay unchanged. So for the practice, the two basic things are belief in the mind, and the second is raise the doubt. These things are not just about feeling. Um, when we talk about belief, it cannot just be belief at the beginning and then later on not no longer believe, or sometimes believe, sometimes don't. When we say the mind stay unchanged, mean the belief have to stay the same from the beginning all the way through. And to help our belief in the true mind um, to grow into conviction, to help us reach liberation, we have to always stay close to the three jewels and the white teachers and Dharma friends. Always um, ask and discuss the practice with them to help us strengthen the belief in the mind, to help us have the one mind instead of a mind that keep changing. So besides belief in the mind, we need to also have the practice. They complement one another. The more we practice, the more we will be able to uh, understand the teachings of the Buddha and the Patriarch, and from there we can strengthen our belief further. And then when we practice further, we can lessen our discrimination and attachment until the point where there is no longer any attachment and ignorance. That is the topic of this week. Right now, anybody have any question about the practice or want to share your experience, you can bring it up. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So cô Phước Chánh has a question. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. The, the Sangha and Dharma friends. I want to mention a question that someone brought up in the morning. I'm not sure if he will be listening. I want to talk about the superstitious belief again. I have a story. Back then, when the war just ended, my brother-in-law um, went into went into the army, and then after he come home, the neighbor told him to cut down a tree. He even After he cut down a tree, he even um give the fruit to his wife, but not sure what happened. He fall off the tree and died. So on the day of his funeral, his brother also died because of malaria. So I heard that story from others, and then I went to see them, uh, to see the person. She was talking about a person that um that got the spirit of the soldier who, or so the person who fall off the tree and die. He actually was a soldier in the army, and after he passed away, his spirit went into another person's body, and he was telling his mind that he was so upset that when he went into the war, he never died. But even when he was um, in the plane, um, but why I died just because I fall off of a tree. And he also said he saw his wife and he wanted to come close to his wife, but there were two spirits that tried to stop him. And he also said that he wanted to eat something, but there were two people that stopped him as well. So he, um, the lady said she witnessed that with her own eyes. So she knows that the person who died, some of them don't just move on right away. Some of them still right there. Versus, and then she said because we practice, we are protected by the um unseen creatures, the heavenly creatures. That's why we are not touched by those spirits. And she also mentioned that for uh, the Pure Land school, some of the teachers said they need to recite the Saragama Sutra at such time to help the spirits uh, be able to go to the place for them instead of being around people. So that is the purpose of the Durangama Sutra. So she said when we practice for ourselves and also practice for others. That's what I think. Can you please give some advice? Thầy said a lot of our thinking is illusory thought and wrong thinking. It's not always the truth. You know, we can think whatever we want and we can say whatever we want to say, but those are different type of sickness. And when people don't go along with what we think, we start to get upset. That is called uh, delusion. The Buddha said the realm that we are in here is the realm where uh, where is a mixed area of for five different creatures. Those are asura, human, hell, um, ghost, and animal. So these creatures stay in the same realm. It's just that they, even though they face different stage, they face different realm, but they actually in the same area. Just like if we ask you how many channels on the radio, how do you know how many channels, right? You won't be able to know how many. You know, if you happen to catch such and such channels, then you will be able to see those channels. Same thing, the vibration of the sound on this earth, if the vibration of the sound is similar to the vibration that we can hear, then we will be able to hear. But if it's out of the range that we can hear, then we will not be able to hear. So you can see that the, even when we talk about the sound, the dog cannot hear the thunder. Um, that's why we have the saying, um, the duck hear like cannot hear the thunder. But for a dog, you can see that the dog is scared of the thunder or scared of the fireworks, and then they find a place to hide. They will run away and hide. So we can see that the dog sound is more similar to our way of receiving the sound versus the duck. So the sound has its own vibration. Same thing. Um, the the seeing has its own vibrations as well. That's why the Buddha said the hungry go see the morning as fire and the night as um, ice. Um, they're very scared um, of of seeing of touching the fire because they know that once they touch the fire, they will die. But it's actually just the sun, the light, the sunlight. Um, Same thing, not just the sound, same thing, the appearance too. We are not able uh, to see the ghosts, the hell, etc. But in reality, they all exist around us and everywhere. That's why the Buddha taught us when we go into the restroom, we should knock, should knock 3 times so that the goal to eat the feces um, will move away. Because in case they don't move away, we happen to pee or poop on top of their head, they will get angry and in return do cause trouble to us. So we say that in this realm there are all kinds of creatures. There are some people they have a special ability. That ability is because of their karma, the karmic ability. It's not the ability to set for salvation or anything. It's just the ability based on their karma. They are able to catch such channels that is different than common people, and they are able to see ghosts. And the ghosts also able to see them. For example, some of the people who practice a different kind of school or religion for a while, they are able to see ghosts as well. I mentioned the Buddha had told a story when he was going to beg for food. He walked by a very rich house, and the house has a very big dog that always bark whenever the owner give away food or anything, and the Buddha knows that that dog is the previous owner of the house. Um, um, the dog is because the dog was in her previous life was the mom of the current owner. Um, she know and she still remember everything, and she tried to protect her house and stuff. And then the Buddha come and talk to the dog and touch the head for 3 times, and then from then the dog stopped barking. And he told the dog that you were stingy in the past life. You didn't want to give away anything. And even now you become a dog and trying to keep all of the assets and don't want to give away anything. After that, the dog remember her past life, and then the dog start to feel sad, and don't bark anymore, and just stay under the bed that she used to lie on in her past life. And then the 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 people in the family notice the dog change, and then they complain to the Buddha, what did you do? Because my dog no longer feel happy and barking. He just be quiet and sad and um stay by herself. And then the Buddha explained to the owner that the dog was your mom in the previous life. She was stingy and was not generous to give anything to the people who need, and because she attached to her um, wealth too much, after that she become the dog. And then the owner couldn't believe, because he was like, I I did everything to help her to go to a good realm. How come she become a dog? And the Buddha said, if you don't believe, you can go underneath of the bed and dig up the place underneath of the bed. You can see her 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 jewelry and gold that she buried underneath the bed. And after they dig up that area and found the gold, they start to realize everything, and they uh, feel really worried. And then he started to go with the Buddha and start practicing, take take refuge in the three jewels, and also to help um, the dog, which is their mom in the past life, uh, to and then they start to give away um, her her gold and her jewelry. And after that, the dog die and become a human. That was the story that the Buddha told people in the past. So some some people, because of different reasons, they can see the ghost, or some other people they got controlled by the ghost. Um, it's not just the physical ghost, like the the gambling, the smoking ghost. We can also say that, when people gamble too much or smoke too much without being able to control, we can say that they are controlled by ghosts. That ghost is just created by themselves, by their own emotions. But those situation are uh, delusion. It's not real. Um, so don't let those illusions um, trick us into assign a name, assign attachment into those situations. Because when you attach or assign a name to those situations, you are falling into superstitious belief. So you have to find a way to keep the one mind, the mind that is not changing, to not let those no those events, those symptoms to control you. You understand? Kim Yến, please. Nam mô Sakyamuni Buddha, dear people, thank and practitioners. Um, Yesterday when I was practicing in the temple, when I asked the question, I at that time I still aware that I was asking, but then all of a sudden I found out that the illusion start um show up in my thinking without me knowing. Some of these illusions are very meaningless, but also sometimes the your Dharma talk or some of your words from the Dharma talk also come up. But I remember you taught us whatever um, mental state that we feel, all of those are just the mind of a thief. So I just come back to ask the question. But after that, um, I start to feel very sleepy. So the illusion and the sleepiness keep following me the entire session of practice. I feel like this is very common sickness and also been following me for a while. Um, but I realize that these stages control me very strong. Um, could you please talk more about it? The discriminating mind always active without stop, and the five scanners always active non-stop. Nothing can um, destroy the five scanners. Only the prajna can overcome those scanners. Right now we are practice prajna and rely on the skillful means of prajna, the teachings of prajna. We keep, like using the words and the teachings of the Buddha and the patriarch to remind everybody again and again to help everybody um, strengthen their belief. So these the thinking always happen, um, but you have to discern this kind of thinking is different from the thinking of the Theravada meditation. The sixth consciousness and the seventh consciousness always active. The seventh consciousness, manner consciousness, is the owner of the sixth consciousness. And the manner consciousness, the seventh consciousness, is the one that attacks, and then from it generate attachment, it push the sixth consciousness to control the other five to be active and do what it wants. The sixth consciousness in the morning is a little bit stronger, and the minor consciousness at night tend to be stronger. In the morning, because the sixth consciousness is stronger, the minor consciousness sometimes hide itself. For example, sometimes has it cover up its intention and use through the sixth consciousness so that people doesn't do not realize them. But at nighttime, when the sixth consciousness is weak, the minor consciousness normally show up stronger. But if we cling on to the principle and the theory, we might forget about the practice. And if we just practice without checking up the principle, we can fall into the wrong path. That's why we always recommend people to stay close to the rituals and the wise teachers instead of following their assuming mind. We tend to just follow our attachment and go into the wrong path. And if we don't try to fix and help us go back into the right path from the beginning, we might get lost later on. If we are not strict on the practice, then the more we practice, the our ego might become bigger. Why? Because some of people they just practice based on their ego instead of, strengthen their attachment. So we need to be very cautious. So we have to recognize the practitioner in order to strengthen the belief. And the belief is to help us to practice, not to help us to accumulate more knowledge. That's why the wise teachers always said, whatever I say is to help strengthen the belief in the true mind, not to increase knowledge. That's why, Master, like what I said, we have to push out all of the knowledge, even the knowledge of attainment, have to be pushed out in order for us to start to be able to enter Patriot Zen. But most people, they don't want to let go of those knowledge. They try to hold on to their knowledge. So from the teachings of the Buddha and Patriot, and also from the sharing of the wise teachers and the Dharma friends, help us strengthen the belief in the mind. And once we make the wish to practice from the practice, uh, we can help, we can gradually help, lessen the attachment. And once we can practice prajna profoundly, we will be able to recognize the five standards or emptiness. Only then is our practice reaching a achievement. So our discrimination based on duality, uh, subject object, the object of gaining, seeking, fearing. We always keep in mind that the right practice have to end attachment. When we practice, we need to have a goal, a purpose. Without a goal or a purpose, uh, or without any good effects, some people don't want to practice anymore. For example, sometimes people ask us, have you gained anything after years of practicing? And we start to feel like we want to gain something. But once we have that thought, we are actually practicing based on the object of gaining. We should think that, you know, um, practice is to learn to let go and transcend attachment, not to gain more. So we have to keep the doubt. With the doubt, there won't be any object of gaining, seeking, and fearing. And that's why we say the doubt is to help end attachment. And when we use the Tao, we can raise the contemplation of the prajna. Our patriarch recommend us to practice effortlessly, not to push too hard. We just do it normally. We if we believe in the practice believe already, we just need to start practicing. Um, when our belief is not complete and our practice is not strong enough, we have to stay close to the wise teacher so that we don't get controlled by our ignorance and attachment. So always remember, ask the question, raise the doubt, uh, and maintain the belief, and always be strict on those, so that we don't fall into mistake.
Dạ hiểu rồi ạ, con xin cảm ơn thầy.
Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, dear Thầy, dear Sangha, and all practitioners. From what you just talked about, um, the belief in mind and attachment, I realized this thing before when I don't know to practice. I just live based on attachment and illusion. I let the illusion control me and don't know um I keep following those illusions without stopping, even when I sleep. But when I know this method of practice, I, and start practicing, I start having uh, belief in the true mind and raise the doubt. And even it might be easier to say than to do. You know, we say that we should believe in the true mind, but in reality, we always get controlled by the deluded mind and attachment. Even when we are practicing, uh, those things still come up and drag us around, making us not able to practice. For example, when practice, we raise the thought of wanting to get some water. If we are at the temple, maybe we are not able to do that, but if we practice at home, we might just stand up and get water. And If we keep doing that, then our practice will not be able to be continuous, and we start falling into the sickness of the false mind, the deluded mind. So, any thought, if we keep attached to those thoughts constantly, they will become very strong and start become our karma. Sometimes it might be good thought, might be a bad thought, but if we keep repeat those thoughts and follow those thoughts, they gradually become our karma. For example, if we let the hearing control us, when we hear something nice, we feel happy. When we hear something bad, we feel sad. Sad. Um, and we keep having affliction. If we can practice well, then and we believe in the true mind, we will not get influenced by this. Because even though we hear all of those things, we will not get attached to those things because our practice and belief can help us move on. But if we don't practice well, it seems like the more we practice, the more we have attachment because we keep attached to those thoughts, keep follow our assumption. The wise, the wise teachers always said there's nothing for us to establish and attach to that, but uh, in my experience, we keep falling into that mistake without able to overcome. And if we don't recognize that, instead of being improved on improved on our practice and end attachment, we grow more attachment. Could you please talk more about it? Thầy said yes, it's clearly like that. Uh, like the Buddha told a story of the wise teachers in the past, even though they are they they following the rational knowledge, they are very clear on the theory, but it's still not easy for them to actually enter and truly get the rational. That's why they have to seek out the learning from other great teachers. Anytime they hear of any great teacher, they will come to stay close and to ask to learn from them. Doesn't matter what the challenges are, they still overcome everything. They are even willing to sacrifice their uh, body in order to seek the Dharma. Um, in the past, in order to um, the why some of the teachers are willing to let the students to come and see them and ask any question at any time. Like in Cao Mân Temple, all of the bang chủ can enter into the room of the abbot anytime in order to ask questions because bang chủ is the one that will answer questions of other people versus the rest of the people might not be able to just enter into the room of the abbot anytime they want. So just like a person who does their thesis they need a professor that they truly trust and can stay close to them. So the professor can help that student to do research and present the thesis later on to all of the other professors, and at the end become grad graduated as a doctor. But for a new student who just enter college, that student cannot just go and stay close to a professor in order to do um, their homework. They need to overcome multiple steps. They need to um, pass 5 years of study and have an idea of what the thesis are, and start to look for a professor that will be willing to help them with the thesis in order for them to graduate as a doctor. So that is to talk about the normal university. Same thing um, for Buddhism. We cannot just always bother our teacher. If we do that, um, it will um, be bad to our blessing, right? That's why the Buddhists, they're very careful. Uh, when the practitioner truly needs and have a valid reason, then um, the abbot will be willing to help. So we can see that the people in the past, they're very cautious on their Dharma. They don't let their own consciousness to an attachment to control them. They never just assume that they are good, they are right. Not like people right now. A lot of them just um, go on their own and create their own temple. And some of them actually grow their attachment ego really big. Um, in in Đại Bảo Tích Sutra, there's a lot of stories of people that have to overcome a lot of challenges in order to find the Dharma, or even the Buddha have to sacrifice a lot in all of his past life in order to just learn some virtues of the Dharma. Uh, but over time, some people, they don't appreciate the Dharma, and they mix up the Dharma with other things. Like the Buddha said, at from the original, people sold milk to another person, and then that person go on sell to another one, and they keep mixing water into the milk until when it comes to the final customer, the milk is no longer its original state. So for us, we have to be very cautious um, with our learning and practicing. Always remember the basic thing is to end attachment, to stop the discriminating mind. In stopping the discriminating mind here doesn't mean that we try to suppress our illusory thought. That is wrong. We just need to keep the doubt and always remember the 9 words: nothing to gain, nothing to seek, nothing to fear. Everything is very simple, but people keep generating different ideas and make it more complex. Uh, we we just need to do it normally. Don't try to push it. Um, because if we try to push it, we are actually just practice based on that our object of gaining and seeking. So be careful with your practice and always uh, ask the right teachers to help us to um, fix our mistakes. So from uh, Mr. Hang's words, we just want to expand from them and show people the importance of learning and practicing. I understand. Thank you, Thầy. Every time it's up as well with everyone. Nam Mô Muni Buddha.